everybody. Okay, back out into the garage. Y'all wanted it? Well, here it is. I basically just took off the intercooler, which is sitting up over there. A bunch of wires. There are so many vacuum lines on this car. I'm even kind of using a Haynes manual. It's for an 85 NA, not the supercharged of the 89 like mine. And it even says in the book, if I can find it again, it's like, there's a lot of vacuum lines to this car. It even says, do not remove the engine unless absolutely necessary. For those who don't know, this has to drop out of the bottom of the car. According to the Haynes manual, the engine stands about 2 to 3 feet. I think it says it's something around like 28 inches. Once the engine is down and out of the car, so I'm gonna leave it right here, use my hoist, get the engine down onto the ground. I picked up 2 dollies today to kind of move around. Once it's on the ground, I can then use the hoist to lift the rest of the car up, scoot it out of the way, bring it back down. But in order for that to happen, so things that I've done, I've drained all the engine oil out of it. The coolant has been drained, AC compressor has already been removed, and there's the old greasy alternator. And I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I've undone some of the fuel stuff right here, so these are injectors. For the rest of today, I'm going to continue just removing things that I believe need to be out of the way while kind of following along with the Haynes manual. Just make sure I get everything, and then once the engine I feel is ready to come out, I have to take off the rear wheels, remove the rear axles, put the wheels back on because I want the car to be able to roll at least, and then drop everything out of the bottom. So here we go. So fun fact with the MR2, there are 4 different drains for the coolant. You got main reservoir bottle, which still has coolant in it. I need to get out. Here's radiator cap, or one of them. No, that is the main radiator cap, because the radiator to the front right here does not actually have a cap on it, but there's a plug right here you need to undo to allow it to flow out. There's one right here that's to drain the radiator. There are 2 underneath the car. So these here are return and feed, and you can see there's a little bolt right there, and there's one more right there. Both of those also have to drain. So you have to drain the radiator, start with like the highest to the lowest, yeah, to get everything out. It's confusing. But anyways, I had 3 different buckets set up on this thing last night, draining it, and there's still a little bit of coolant on the ground that I got to clean up. So, oh boy, bleeding this thing is going to be a lot of fun. It's Sunday. I have tomorrow off. My goal is to have this thing on my engine stand by the end of the day. So, let's go. You'll be able to see it as I'm going through all this. Turn the camera that way. This nasty wiring that I have done. It's really gross. That's another big goal for mine with this car, is I actually want to relocate the battery to the front, doing it proper. I want to relocate the fuse box as well and do that properly as well. I need to stop talking and just get to it. So, all right, one more time. Here we go. These right here are fuel lines. And wondering what they were, but following them up, I can see them going into the fuel rail. So this one was, yep, that is return, I believe, or feed, or this one's return, whichever one. But that is that's what those are. So. Noticing this right here, that goes down to there. It appears to be like a 10 or 12. That also needs to come off. I believe that is speedometer. Clutch right there, right? Also ignore my handiwork. And shift linkages right here. And then I also got to get the ECU, or the rest of the wiring harness, out of the trunk. So here's the trunk. Welcome. Air intake. which I've already removed all the stuff inside for the air, right? It goes that way. Comes out right here. Bunch of stuff, intercooler, you know the drill. And in here is what I believe to be the rest of our engine harness. If anybody's ever like, hey, don't use Harbor Freight stuff, yeah, I get it, it's cheap, it breaks, lifetime warranty, which is really nice. But look at Jimmy Oaks. If you pay attention to a lot of his tools, it's all Harbor Freight stuff. All of it. Not all, I shouldn't say all of it, but everybody knows those multicolored sockets and that icon ratchet from anywhere. So, all right, I got a good idea. Ooh, battery's gonna die soon. How about, to get a better visual of everything, let's take the wheels off. We'll take the axles out as well. That will give us a much better idea of what we're in for and what we need to undo. And yes, friends, I know my poor car is rusting and falling apart at the seams. It is on the to-do list. I was kind of thinking if an over fender, not over fender, just a flare. And yeah, bees have been making their home. And there, you see that? It's got a wasp problem this year. There's a lot of wasps. Okay, figured something out. So I believe this is a rear traction bar. Do not quote me on that, I don't know. But you come in here, there's two bolts underneath here. They're 214, no they're not. What are those? 17s, two 17s that hold this to basically the rest of the assembly. But you undo that because it's actually a C that slips into here. I wish I could find a better way of showing you. This is like a C that goes this way, and as you can just tell, it's at the bottom of this entire assembly, basically, right? But you do that, then you can pull from here, which slip the axle out. Should be able to remove the axle. That is the passenger, or sorry, driver's side. And a lot of grease. I didn't think the axle was dry. They tore just the top layer of the old epidermis out. Okay, I'm coming to a realization here. Now, my buddy was able to do it. He was able to drop the entire engine transmission out without undoing the intake and the exhaust, is what he said. Well, the manifold. Not the, of course, the exhaust has to come off underneath it. But the Haynes manual says to remove it. And I see why. I was just thinking about it. They're the professionals that are going to teach you how to do it absolutely correctly. Your friend's going to teach you the way to do it a little sketchy. To where it's like, no, it can be done. You don't have to do it. Getting underneath here, let me show you. So, here is engine, right? This is block. Everything above right here is all intake and supercharger. Here's supercharger, part of the intake. So all of that can be removed. And then from there, if you look, let's turn the camera on. I mean, it just has to drop straight out from there, right? All this will be gone. So from here, straight down, which means I'll get to avoid this right here, because if I drop it straight down, the supercharger is going to hit, including everything else, which could make a mess of removing the engine. It could get stuck. all sorts of things. I really don't want this thing stuck with the hoist attached to it for overnight, a day, whatever, right? I want to do this in kind of one clean shot. So I think I will remove all of this to drop it straight down, just to be sure it's done correctly and more safely also. That way I have all the room in the world, none of the worry about any of it either. Years ago, when my friend had one of these and he removed the engine out of it, and I'm not kidding, that car was at a 45-degree angle. It was so far up watching him drop everything out of the back of that I was like, holy moly. But he did it. But buddy, I love you, William. You do things, you get it done, but damn it, you do it in some sketchy ways sometimes. It worked. But I remember clearly just looking back on that and seeing how high up the back of that car was for him to get the engine out of it. Well, now it's my turn, and I'm trying to be a little more methodical about it and safe about it. That's why I already have it kind of lifted up. We're gonna have to start taking some of this apart in order to get the entire manifold to remove. With no clear instruction, I'm just using my best ability to decipher which bolts to remove first before you just start tearing things apart, because half the time they never go back together correctly. Now there's this bolt right here, which I hope you can see. That one right there, and there's one right here as well. Two more on the opposite side. So in theory, I believe if I undo those four, this piece will be able to remove, and then it's going to be this part of the intake, which has a plenum basically that comes out, that this sits on top of, that has a hole that goes down into there. Excuse my nails, Heather did them. But once that's removed, I'll have a better idea on what else to take out. Some people might see this and see nothing. And some people be like, yeah, I know exactly what that is that's leaking all over your car. But so when I rebuilt my 2JZ recently, it was definitely with the help of a friend, right? I didn't really know what I was doing, so I had him be my guiding hand. I've said it before, I'll say it again, I'm not a professional. This is the intake. This is right here. There's your butterfly valve, right? So it's cool to just be able to take off pieces that, like, so many times I've started this car and I kind of know where things are, but I've never really been able to dig in and appreciate it. And now, and that's the thing I hate about cars, is like you open up their hood and it's just full of plastic. You can't get an appreciation for what's really under there. It's a mystery box. I don't know what I'm looking at. And this one had so much wiring and stuff just crammed into it that you couldn't really tell what it was, or its bones, right? It's cool just to be able to see this and be like, okay, I know what it is that I'm looking at. I know what it is I should be paying attention to, but it's just neat. Like, that's the back of the cylinder head where it attaches to the transmission, front of the engine, your intake exhaust. I can't wait to get this thing out and give it a proper bath. Really clean it up. And God, I'm excited to hear it again. Hopefully it sounds really good. I mean, this thing's definitely needed it. It's had a rough life. So if I can clean this up and make it look really good and worry about the body later, that'd be splendid. So, okay, my famous words, you know, festina lente, make hay slowly. It's a beautiful day. It's Sunday. We got nowhere to be. Got tomorrow off. There is the intake plenum. This right here is what we're currently unbolting. Now it does separate, which will be very hard for you to see up there. This really dark, gross looking piece right here has these two rubber couplers. Well, it's a coupler with two, you know what I'm saying. Those need to remove, but more importantly, this is a brace apparently for the upper intake, which is bolted to what we need to remove or want to remove. Protect your eyes. Safety first, my friends. I can't explain how annoying oil, muck, like grease is in your eyeball. Probably isn't good for your vision either. Hey Russell, if you can remember future self, face these bolts downward. It would really suck if we had to tighten these back up or take them off if they were facing another direction. Now, with some wiggles, it should come out. All right, so I just removed the two 10mm bolts out of whatever this is. We'll figure out what that is later on. And it came apart, so I stopped right there and started recording again so that everybody can see what's going on. So there we go. There's the bottom coming out where that coupler was that we undid. Also, this is not ready to come off. Now that this is out of the way and this is moved, we can look at this, which is all right here. That's the fuel rail. So if we undo all the main components to the fuel rail will come out, and then we can remove the rest of the intake. 12mm, anybody that's curious? Luckily I had a magnet to get that out. That's intake. If anything gets too far down in there, I then have to remove the cylinder head. There's fuel rail. All right, we're doing good. Fuel rail's out. Motor's looking more and more bare as we are going. Next big step, wiring harness, which we can see is I've loosened everything from the front. All of the front connections are undone. There is probably a 10mm bolt here, and there's a 10mm bolt right here, which is keeping all of this on. So once that's off, that can come out, which will expose more bolts for the intake, supercharger, that kind of stuff. Still got to get the belt off the front as well. So keep trucking. I didn't realize it wasn't recording, but there's the engine harness. Pretty much out of the way. More of this old girl's getting exposed. All right, my bad. Wasn't recording on that one. I removed the little side pipe thing to it. Put that right there for a moment. I'm gonna sort all that, trust me, because I got bolts now where I'm like, where did they go? Anyways, it went right here, so much more room now. Getting close. Okay. The intake has proven to be the longest part, but supercharger's out. How did I do it? Because the intake is still on there. Turns out there is, as I suspected, 4 bolts on the bottom of the intake plenum, the runners. So I was able to remove the pulley. There's the supercharger. Drop it down underneath. It's kind of weird because it's like a combination of 12s and 14s that keep that pulley on. Whole thing will drop out right after that. So, wow. Burning daylight, 6 o'clock. And I'm getting tired, friends. I'm getting tired. I didn't want this to go into Monday. I'm gonna keep going. I'm not done. I still got some left in the tank. But I'm getting there. I still got some left in the tank as the camera's like falling over. Alright, well, I just realized something. Now with the supercharger out of the way, I don't really think I need to remove the intake the full way. I do, if I was going to, have to remove a coolant passage that goes underneath it. and I have to remove the starter, all of which does need to be removed either way, but I think honestly it's safe enough to drop. All right, friends, well, everything's been removed that we think needs to be removed. Bob came over. Hello, Bob. And yeah, so sorry, I put the camera down, wanted to kind of focus, but there are 4 mounts that should allow this whole thing to drop. There was the first one right up here, front, boom, right there. That one was easy, bolt out the top, 2 out the bottom. There is 1 over there, you can kind of see right where the camera's at. It's basically the same thing as this side, just over there, has a big bolt that you have to push through it. The big ones that we were having a hard time with, come with me, and you'll see that mount right there. Right there. That one we had to get out by hitting it with a hammer, and 1 over there in the back. All of them are out. So I'm going to now remove the jack from underneath this thing and see if it lowers on down. So here we go. To slide out. Bob here stole a scoop. Went for a little rip. Out for a rip, are you, bud? All right, YouTube fam. I'm gonna go for it. We got strap hooked up underneath, kind of doing one of these to it, so I hope that it's gonna lift it and not do anything funky. We gotta go 1.5 foot up. This is absolutely insane. Holy moly, friends. We probably shouldn't have let it sit for too long, but my Lanta. This is terrifying. We're not put that juju out there, but clear. Don't want to touch the car. Okay, got some quick ones. Motor's out. Let's put it back on the jack stands. Secure it. Make sure it's good and happy. Whew. All right, friends. Battery's gonna die, so this is a good time to do it anyways. Engine is out. I will probably do it tomorrow. or later in the week, get that on the engine stand. But for right now, it's out, it's done. I have a lot to clean up. It's getting late. I haven't eaten. I really want a celebratory beer and to clean. It's actually one of my favorite things to do after a big passion project is clean everything up. So I'm going to do that and kind of just get everything nice and neat and tidy again. But wow, look at that, you know, engine's out. That got really sketchy, kind of weird there at the end. These straps, we'll not talk about their safety rating because they're definitely safety rated. That's it. So from there, I mean, we're gonna put this thing on the stand. We're gonna get it cleaned up. I got some refresh that I want to do on it. I want to clean the engine bay. We got a lot of work, so we got to stay motivated. So with staying motivated, friends, you know what I need to do. Help me out. I am tired. Help me out. Give a like. Get people to watch it. Like, tell other friends, anybody that you got going on, just making sure that tire didn't roll. You know, as long as I know people are watching this, it's gonna really help me to be like, I need to get out there and get going on it. Plus, you know, I'm fulfilling a dream. Eventually, I don't want this probably will, I'm gonna be realistic, probably is gonna stay in here for the entire winter, which means the poor old drift car is gonna have to sleep outside, which means the water has to be taken out of it, coolant put in it so that it can survive the winter months. It'll be okay. It's a good car. It's a really good car. And then after that gets done, I may take the battery out of that. Well, it's already out of it, but since I'm not doing anything with it, get this thing some little love. Maybe drive it a little bit through the winter. Just have it to where I can drive it if I want to. It's always fun to drive your cars.